Okay, so welcome to this tutorial. I'm just stamping my It's Good to Make New Friends rubber stamp from Creative Expressions on their coconut card. So I've stamped the image with black archival ink. The ink's now set, and I'm going to use a Derwent pastel pencil. This is Prussian blue. I'm going to use this on the umbrella of the robot. And if you've seen one of my previous videos using the Better Together stamp, you'll see that I'm using the pencil to shade. Okay, so I'm giving some depth to this stamp. Now I'm looking at this with the light coming in from the right hand side. So I'm going to darken the umbrella coming from the left and thin out towards the right. Okay, so I'm just going to go a little bit lighter the pencil here as I merge towards the middle of the umbrella. Alright, so the light's coming in from the right. So on this seam, I want the shadow to be on the right hand side of the seam. Now, the reason I'm using Prussian blue is I want to colour the umbrella with the Ink-ology Tuscan teal, and this will go over the top of the Prussian blue. I'm simply going to use a paper stubby just to blend this pastel and blend it from the dark going in towards the light. And the pastels are lovely and soft so that they blend really easily. And these pastel pencils, you can get them in various sets. I think they range from 6 to 12 to 24 to 36, I think up to 72. And I've got the 32 set on Amazon at the time of recording this video. There's a big discount. I think I got 16% off my set. So the set of 32 is only about £6 dearer than the set of 24. Right, now I'm going to use the graphite grey in the pastel. And I'm just going to shade the robot's head. Again, remember the light's coming in from the right, so we're going to start darker from the left. So I'm not going to colour the whole stamp for this tutorial, just really to show you how you can use the pastel pencils to help you in your blending. So I'm just going to blend this in now with the stubby. Again, working from the left to the right. And don't press too hard with your stubby, nice and gentle. And just feather that grey. I've also put a little bit in the body here that I'll just feather in. There we go. So now we can simply start filling in with Ink-ology ink. This is Tuscan Teal. And because the shadings, we've already done it with the pastel pencils, we're literally just colouring in now with the ink. So I'm using a squirrel hair brush. I'm just gonna gently lay the ink in. So the squirrel hair brushes, they're very soft. In my ceramic days, I used to do a lot of sumi painting, which uses a very soft brush as well. So I found many people struggle with shading, and this is just a lovely, you can call it a cheat, really, but it's a great technique to just easily do the shading before you apply the ink. And also when you apply the ink to the pastel, it sets the pastel. So normally with pastels you need to fix them with a pastel fixative or hairspray, but the ink will actually fix the pastel. And the other lovely thing with this technique is it gives you time. You know, with shading, you've got to be quite quick to get the shading right, but with the shading done, you can really take your time with the brush, make sure you get to these edges. I'm also going to get the Tuscan Teal into the shadow underneath the umbrella. There we go. I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to lay in some Ink-ology Cold Steel, where I applied the graphite grey pastel pencil. Now with the Tuscan Teal, I didn't add any water, but with this grey, we're going to add lots and lots of water, just very weak grey to go over the pastel. That's good. So here, exactly the same as we did with the umbrella. Just lay this in and work it from the dark to the light. Put a little bit there in the body where I added the pastel. Go and just blend that in. Perfect. So I'm just going to show you, this is on the Creative Expressions watercolor card. Just the same technique. This is olive green pastel pencil. And the light's going to come from the center of these robots. So we're going to shade from the left-hand side into the center. So I start heavier with the pastel pencil on the outside. And as I work my way in, just a lot gentler with the pencil. And then do the same with the right-hand side. Not going quite as heavy on the right-hand side. So this is golden green in the Ink-ology range, and I'm going to use this just to lay over the pastel pencil. I'm using my squirrel hairbrush again. Oops, I forgot to blend in with the stubby, so quickly do that first. You will find because of the texture of the watercolor card, you have to blend a little bit harder. There we go. And now I can just lay in the golden green ink, working from the shadow from the left hand side into the center. Okay, and out to the right to the shadow. There you go. Yep, that's a lovely blend. Perfect. Now I just thought I'd add this section onto the end. And we're going to do some polka dots. For this we're going to use this Dr. P.H. Martin's Blueproof White. This has been a friend of mine for a long time. So I'm just going to pop a little tiny blob onto my palette. You only want a small blob for what we're going to do. And make sure you pop the lid back on this stuff, it will dry up quickly. So this is just a soft colour pencil. Okay, and the tip is just used slightly, just rounded. So move that there. Okay, so I'm just going to dip the tip of the pencil into the blueproof white and just add polka dots to the umbrella. You want to dip in for every dot. Now this blueproof white is perfect to go over the top of inks because if you use normal acrylic, you'll find the ink will very likely bleed through. This stuff's also great if you're altering hardcover books, especially if they're red. You'll find the red would bleed through the white gesso and kind of turn the gesso pink. So this blueproof white is perfect. So there you go, little tiny raised dots with no bleed from the ink. So while I'm at it, I thought I'd add dots to the robot. Exactly the same process as we did before. Now if you wanted to tint this white blueproof white, you could just add a little tiny bit of ink to it to maybe turn it pink. Just make sure it's just a tiny amount of ink. You don't want to alter the consistency of the white paint. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this and I'll see you in the next one.